What's going on, guys? Sorry, I'm sitting on the bed. I'm holding the damn camera. What do you want? But anyway, I just watched the DC animated movie, Death of Superman. Yeah, they've redone this movie. I believe the last one was called Superman Doomsday. Basically, it was a way for them to have this amazing comic that became huge. Um, they portrayed it in the movie, and the last movie was damn good. It was very emotional. It was very heavy, driven upon that emotional thing. You get what I'm saying to you? This one held off on the emotional attachment to the characters. They made a lot of one-liners and stuff like that, but there was also a lot of poking at Clark in the movie, making fun of his insecurity of a relationship, which, okay, that's cool, but at the same time, you kind of want to feel this, connection between Lois and Clark, which you kind of get a little into, And Lois has her ride or die there, fully on supporting through the whole thing, and um, when Clark finally does, come out and say he's Superman, he says, "Hey, I have two secrets. One being that, the other one being, that he loves her." Then you feel the connection, and you really get like emotionally attached because you know it's coming, and you're like, "This is, watching him basically get beat to death." But you finally got the emotion you're looking for in this movie, which I know everyone's looking for the emotion in this movie. There's no way you can't, because the Death of Superman was such a monumental book, and this is coming from a guy who prefers uh, Batman. You get what I'm saying? The only comics that I own with Superman in them is Doomsday and the three that were in Blackest Night. So I'm not big into Superman, but I know this book was big, and it came out like the mid '90s. I want to say this is the art style, and this is why they did it. They wanted to go more into the new 52 style of art. It looks kind of like the art from I can't speak from um, Justice League War. Unfortunately, Justice League War is possibly the worst Justice League movie, and I've said that on my channel a few times. It is horrible. Now, that being said, this movie, while watching it, has four separate post-credit scenes. I think that's the most we've ever seen in one of these. One, we see Cyborg Superman. Um, Superboy wakes up, and he makes an appearance in this too. Um, I don't remember Superboy even being mentioned in the original comics. That might have been something they added, but he's in it, and it shows him awake. Um, it shows. I forgot what the last one was, but basically, there's a lot to work with for them to go further than just Batman. Because let's be honest, DC, you guys have mainly been Batman heavy because Batman sells. Unfortunately, your live action movies are horrible because, let's be honest, you don't. Whoever you put in charge doesn't give a fuck about the source material, nor do they have a talented bone in their body. I mean, that's just real. If your animated department, which has got to be run by somebody else, keeps to kind of, as close to the original content and as close to home as possible because it's cartoon transfer, from panel to motion, and you have these people paying that close attention to it, maybe the problem isn't the source. Maybe the problem is you. So that's why I say whoever's running the DC live action movies needs to be fired, every single one of them, from the top guy. He needs to be let go. He needs to be gone because there's no reason for this to be that bad. There was no reason um, Batman v Superman had several different stories in it. That was so bad. Like, they just, I understand where they were going, but to show you how much it's different, the animated movie universe actually has connections between the ones that are meant to be connected. Like, you don't have to worry about where you're gonna find the connection in these because they have them. Sorry, I'm still holding the camera. I just changed hands, but you can follow the connection so easy. They make it very simplistic in the animated universe. Whereas with the live action movie, I swear it's like someone has a stupid pill before making these things and going, well, this one's gonna be the first one, and this one's gonna be the second, and this one's gonna be the fifth. You had the perfect formula. If you wanted to keep it close to realistic, you had Man of Steel, you had the Dark Knight trilogy, two very good movies. And did you follow formula? No. You let an idiot cram like 7 different stories into one giant failure. And the problem with that is everybody has been waiting for Batman and Superman on the big screen. Now, I'm not saying Christian Bale would have been better, but if you would have just followed formula and made it in that style and had somebody who gave a fuck about the material, because clearly they don't when you watch these movies, this is not what we would have for live action. DC and Marvel have the exact same curse, and that means they're only good at one thing. Marvel is great at live action movies. Marvel sucks for their cartoon animation movies. Where DC is like the best of the best is their animated movies, and they're great. I always tell people go buy them because of how good they are. But DC, and the fact there's so much material to work with, and the fact that there's 9 million people who want to throw 20 zillion different stories into one fucking movie, the live action movies suck. I mean, think about it, man. Suicide Squad had the most potential to be the best thing ever because it's a bunch of bad guys. How the fuck did they manage to greenlight a movie where the script took 2 weeks? Seriously, the best thing about that movie is Will Smith. It's nowhere near as good as it could be. I really wish they would have paid all the money in the world to Christopher Nolan because, damn it, his Batman movies are what I expected from this DC universe bullshit they call. And it's not, and I'm moving the camera again, apologize, but I think everybody could agree. Either the Nolan universe should have been exactly where it started and been where it was going. And they didn't do that. They didn't do it at all. It failed horribly, man. I really, really am disappointed with their live action movies. But their animated movies are so good, and just like Marvel, there's one good and one bad. It just happens to be with Marvel, their live action is good and their animated sucks. With DC, it's their live action's horrible, but their animated is so worth the money. It's worth the day one purchase. I've never ran into a bad one except Justice League War, and I think that was because War was possibly just bad altogether. So again, DC animated movies are on point. They're always good, and Marvel's animated always sucks. DC's live action movies always are horrible, and you feel bad for watching them, and you feel bad for the characters involved in them. Whereas Marvel live action are great. So, excuse me, I thought I'd just throw that out there just in case you thought anything was, bias here. It's nothing bias. It's just Marvel got beat the shit out of in animated department when they right. Like, as soon as they released Thor Tales of Asgard to coincide the live action Thor movie, which both of those were great, they just quit trying. They quit trying, and they let that stop motion animated, or not stop motion, it might have been just like a comic book on live comic book thing, basically where they scan the page and just have it go like this. Or once they let about 3 of them bitches get out and they were going toe to toe with DC, and DC wasn't about that shit, they were about live experiences, real motion animated type shit. Marvel just backed out. Sure, they've released movies since then, but they haven't done the numbers anywhere near the numbers of DC because they hurt themselves that bad. Um, but Superman, the death of Superman, is definitely worth the day one buy. When it gets released, I'm buying it day one physical. I watched the digital version. That's how I've seen it. Um, it definitely is a great upgrade. I've heard plenty of people say that the upgrade is worth it, and it really is. I'm just kind of a little disappointed on the fact of how much emotion was in Superman Doomsday versus how little emotion and how much more comedic they want to be in the death of Superman. Because, like I said, Superman Doomsday just tugged at my heart, and it had all the emotion behind it, and you could really feel it. Whereas the death of Superman, it literally takes up to where he confesses who he is and his love for Lois for you to even begin to feel any kind of emotion. That's the only complaint I have about it. So until next time, deuces.